So awakening is not something that you practice. It's not something that you do. It is something you see, that separation could not exist. You see, it seems to exist because we see the world of objects. Instead of seeing them as expressions of nothingness, expression of is, instead of seeing them as expressions of is, we see the world of objects as actually real itself, instead of from what it's coming from. You see what I mean? We are all expression of the is, of the invisible, infinite intelligence. But when you think that you are separate from that, you don't know that your real nature is, you know, then that lack of seeing brings all the suffering known to humanity. You see? And the moment you start seeing, see, let's go into a bit more about seeing here, how we can apply it in everyday life, because you don't have to try to go deep into it, you just see what actually is beyond the personality, beyond the person, whatever it is. Would you like to share something? Share some way in which we can look as it actually is.
I see how it would have to be contained. Like it would have to be like, for instance, I go to the office, right? So that would have to be a very aware day, right? To know where you're seeing from.
But can't you say you have to be aware day, but can't seeing come to the point where you can make it as an intention of seeing? See, the beautiful thing about seeing is that you're not seeing something that is not there. You're allowing to see beyond what you think is there. You see? So if somebody is shouting, you don't see somebody opening their mouth, making a loud noise, and saying words that might hurt your ego. You don't see that at all, because that is a perception based on memory in the past. But allow yourself to see that where it's coming from a pain, from a discomfort. And immediately as you do that, that very seeing, you don't protect yourself, because when you see the truth of where it's coming from, you don't make it personally anymore. You see exactly what is happening. You see a person shouting, they could be shouting at you, but you don't see it at you, because at that moment you're so innocent. All you see is someone opening their mouth, making a noise, saying words, and it doesn't make sense.
You know, the other way that I was thinking of it is when the outside shouting, let's say, happens, seeing the reaction in this thing you call person over here at home, and seeing where that one is caught and separated. Because as soon as I feel my own separation from life and self, when I see that, then I automatically come back, and when I automatically come back, then there is no threat over there.
Yes.
So it seems like you can do it either way.
Yes, either way, because there's no separation.
Because there's no separation, exactly.
Yes, yes, yeah. So the seeing, it does not see separation from me and from what is happening, but we see that what is happening has nothing to do with anything real, but it's only where it's happening from, because there's an idea that something has happened to trigger it, and that person has made it real, and it's happening as a chaotic incident, you see.
And if you can clear it out over on this side, then you're seeing them as they are. Because at first, when people do that, they want some ego reaction to push against.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Very good, yes.
And so, when you remove that, then they can actually be more, they can kind of fall out of themselves and be more in touch with the love that is there, as opposed to actually be threatened by being uncovered.
Yes.
Did that make any sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
See, this is, yeah, and that's how healing and forgiveness happens. You see? So this is the seeing. Okay? But we can all, and I'm repeating myself, okay, so that we get it clearer. Seeing is not difficult at all. It is the simplest thing there is, but it requires an innocence from thinking you are a person. In other words, there is an innocence of looking. You see?
From the heart.
From the heart, from the heart. And you look and you find something had happened to me when I was teaching Course in Miracles at one time, and I had a manager, and he was very good. He was getting me appointments. Jen remembers. He was to get me appointments, and we used to have about 60, 70 people attending, you know. Anyway, to make a long story short, one time he introduced me to a woman whom he was in love with, and I wasn't aware of it at the time. And but she became attracted to me, and she started calling me every day, and so we went out. And then I told him about it, and he became livid. And he started calling me names, and he went to the newspapers writing articles against me. He stopped helping me. He called everybody. I lost all the clients because he said, I am a womanizer, and I am bad, and I am fake, and I am this, and I am that. This is all true, right? How long ago was this?
25 years.
About 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and honestly, as God is my judge, he did all that, and I forgave him immediately. And some people who believed in me and who were devoted to me, which were very few, they defended me. And they couldn't understand how it didn't affect me. They couldn't understand why it didn't bother me. As a matter of fact, after a while I thought, well, I'll take a break and go out with this girl. We went to Hawaii until it kind of cooled off. But I completely forgot, because I used to look at him shouting, livid, making this, and the more he saw that it didn't affect me, the wilder he became so bad that he actually became sick. He himself became sick out of all this. So what I'm trying to say here, pardon me for giving you such a personal example, because I'm talking about non-personal here. But when you don't see yourself as a person that needs protection, that needs defense, and you forgive, that very forgiveness is one of the greatest blessings known to humanity, because it opens up a whole new world. And when I came back from Hawaii, you know, I had wonderful things start happening again, you see. Honestly, I never worried about it. Because I knew, first of all, that I didn't do anything. I didn't need to protect myself, and I didn't want to hurt him by, you know, people says, we should sue him, we should do this, for losing business and all that. I said, no. I totally forgave. And that forgiveness was so beautiful, you see. So anyway, where do we go from here? So forgiveness is seeing very, very clearly that what a person does is what a person is doing because that's their world, that's their perception, that's their judgments. Yeah.
So I would guess that would be the same thing as forgiving yourself as it would be to forgive another.
Well, forgiveness is always total, you see, because there is no separation. So
no, but I guess it seems that it would be easier to see that when another is involved, but when it's just yourself, well, what you're saying is the same thing.
Yes, it comes to you see, when you start to see, there is no them and you anymore.
That's right.
You know, and so there is no separation. Now it's true that forgiving yourself is a little harder than forgiving another, but it's only because the personality is still there. When I talk about personality, it doesn't mean you don't have a personality anymore. It means you are not a separate individual, you see, anymore. So therefore there's nothing to protect, you see. And so when you see that, then the forgiveness becomes total of yourself and another. Because there is nothing to forgive, you simply see that God has gone crazy right now in that form. Because everybody is God, right? Okay, now God doesn't go crazy, but a person forgets that they are beautiful beings, you see? And because they don't know, they defend who they think they are. That very defense becomes their pain. And it triggers, it triggers them where it hits them most in their childhood, in their upbringing, etc., etc. So anyway, I hope that at this point you've become very clear about what forgiveness really is. And the key to transformation is seeing. You are what you see.